I am doing a plantless bioactive build for you guys.
Plantless bioactive build. Plantless.
Hi guys, my name's Josh. Welcome to my channel, The Bio Dude. We're in the middle of the complete showroom renovation. We've been working on it for a couple weeks, and during this time we're going to be filming a whole bunch of fun stuff. But one of the fun videos I'm really excited to show you guys is I'm going to do a build video a little bit about why I love this species. If you guys have ever had viper geckos before, these are an amazing micro gecko from India and Pakistan. Really easy to keep. This is the biggest that they get. We've been breeding them now for a while. We love having them here. We've been offering captive bred babies here at the Dude and at Morph Market. And today I have one of our BioDude 2x2x2 cages that I hope to have on my website here in the next coming months after we get through everything. Onto the inside, we have an Arcadia Shade Dweller that's linked to my Solar Grow T5 plant fixture. And then we have a BioDude ceramic heat bracket with an Arcadia halogen bulb that we have at 50 watts. We're going to be keeping our group at a hot spot of around 92 to 94 degrees with a cool spot rate around 70 with some drops at night. And today I am doing a plantless bioactive build for you guys, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to do it, as well as go over a little bit of information as to how I'm going to be keeping this soil healthy without using live plants. So let's get to it. So for starters here, I'm going to put in my substrate. So what's really nice about this habitat is we have a nice 4.5 substrate lip, and I am using Terra Sahara. Now I gotta really, this species is absolutely amazing to work with. They're not hard to take care of. They don't need a lot of space, which is really nice. I would like to say that 24 Quart Sahara does a pretty good job. Now, with how I'm building this habitat, I am actually going to be using a custom clay background mix that I made, that I'm going to show you guys how I made it. I also am going to be keeping the front half of this habitat pretty much completely open with just the Terra Sahara on the top, because these guys lay their eggs directly on the open parts of the dirt. I'm going to incorporate some BioShot. Now, the BioShot is going to be effective, but because we aren't using plants, the effectiveness of it won't be as great as if we're using plants, because we know the mycorrhizae form symbiotic relationships with your plant roots. Instead of heavily relying on plant roots and other things like that to formulate some of these back-end processes, we're going to be putting in other things throughout the life of the habitat, such as the BioVive and other type of inoculants, as well as ensuring that we are able to keep a nice healthy population of cleanup crew, springtails, and isopods. So what I am going to do is I do have some cacao and banana leaves mixed together with a little bit of spag. So truth be told, I am not using a lot of spag in this habitat, if not any. These guys are an arid desert species. So this is all the amount I'm going to be using in the 2 cube, and I'm going to be centralizing it in the back right primarily, and then I'm going to make sure I mix that all together when I'm done. Then I'm going to take some of these banana leaves and cacao leaves that have already been completely rinsed and disinfected, and I'm going to put them in here too. What's most important is making sure that these are thoroughly mixed in with the substrate, making sure that we are providing enough leaf litter and other biodegradables for your cleanup crew to thrive. We're also going to be incorporating a little bit of extra calcium and some calcium bones and stuff like that as well. And now I'm just going to start mixing everything up. The banana leaves are going to break down a lot slower than the cacao leaves because they're much more fibrous, and they have a much thicker density to them. So it's going to take them a little bit longer to get completely broken down. Now, I did talk to you guys about me putting like my own makeshift background in here. So I got it right here in this bucket, which as you guys can see, this is a really nice mixture that I made of my springtail clay and cat litter. And you can see it's perfectly molding clay, and I got it nice and saturated and everything. So before I do that, I first need to figure out what I want my base to be to make sure that this is in fact going to thrive in the way that I want it to thrive and of course look really good. So the first thing I'm going to do is start pulling out some of my rocks. All right. Okay, got a really beautiful piece of dragon stone right there. And right here. All right. Big piece of pumice stone. Perfect. I'm gonna put this, and I was using these in my aquarium for a while, so I already know these are gonna look legit when they are done. And I'm really excited for it. So I got my initial rock mosaic right here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start taking my clay, like so, and I'm gonna start molding it around my scape. If the clay is something you guys are interested in wanting to buy from me, let me know. The reason we don't sell our springtail clay is because there's a lot of safety that goes with it. You have to mix it outside. You have to be really careful with the dust and allergens that can become part of it. So at the end of the day, it's just one of those things, like the liability aspect of it wasn't that attractive to me. But if you guys would like me to put out a blog or something on how I make this mix, it's really easy. The biggest thing is if you're going to use cat litter or other things like that, you need to make sure it is just pure clay cat litter, as well as ensuring that, you know, the clay that you're getting, the modeling clay is exactly the color and other things that you want. And you also want to make sure that, again, that it's a natural product and that there isn't some fake nasties in there that could be detrimental to your animals. So here we go. Now, what this stuff is going to do, it is going to completely harden and then completely dry to the point when it's just going to look like a complete natural background that has a lot of different defining textures to it. Which, again, I'm going to do some fun stuff to it as well. And then it's also important to make sure that everything is supported. And making sure that this background is properly adhesive to the actual back itself. So next, after all of that is in there, I got this really beautiful piece of manzanita that I'm going to put here, like so. Stick that right on in. And then I got another beautiful piece that I'm going to go ahead and put right here, like so. Dig it. I want to put that right there. Okay, so next, what's also really important with these guys is making sure that you have obviously lots of different places to bask. Make sure they can't get really close, like too close to the heat bulb, that they're going to get burned. But one thing that I am severely lacking right now are hiding areas. I actually have this nice piece of red slate right here that I'm going to put right down there. And then I got another piece of slate. Put this red slate back here, boom. Okay. So guys, when you're building these backgrounds, or just anything like this, one of the most important aspects is just making sure that we have everything secure in here. So what I'm trying to do is kind of build this up a little bit, coming up this side. So what I'm trying to do right now is on this side, create multiple levels of hides. And I'm gonna do something very similar right here as well, which you guys are gonna see here in just a moment. But I just need you guys just to bear with me while I get all of this taken care of. So then this Reese, boom. And then last but not least, or not really last, but these guys love flat rocks. I really can't describe it. They just, if you put flat rocks down here, they are going to find a way to take full advantage of the cover that those rocks provide. So now what I'm gonna do is start building up the back here. We gotta get this section back here all nice and snuggled in. So guys, so what's gonna happen with this clay as it dries, it's gonna completely harden. So it's just like taking care of your cat litter pan. You guys all know once your cat goes pee, and you don't touch that litter box for like 2 days, and then the litter completely hardens into a giant nasty ammonia mass. So think of that's going to do the same thing, but it's not going to be an ammonia mass. And when you're using backgrounds like this, what you also have to remember is they are going to get wet and then they're going to get dry. And it's really important to understand how these can impact your different humidity ratios that are within your habitat, because it's clay. So it's gonna shoot humidity back into your habitat. And again, guys, this is just base clay kitty litter, red art clay, calcium carbonate with a little bit of charcoal mixed in. And again, you guys can see there are so many little nooks, crannies, and crevices in here that I'm filling in. Obviously to make sure that the background is nice and secure and sound, but also making sure that the little critters have lots of little areas. They can go in here, they can go in here. I'm gonna take this piece. Okay. I am gonna have to move this really quickly. There we go. We're gonna take this little piece right here and we're gonna elevate this so that way there's a little hole right under here for them to go under, which is going to be considered the hot hide. So as of right now, we have 2 different types of hides. We have a hot hide and we have a cool hide on either side that I'm expecting to give different thermal gradients for these critters as they continue to get adapted to the area and this and that. What's really good about using rocks for desert species is that, or just honestly for reptiles in general, we all know that reptiles are solar powered, right? Rocks hold on to a lot of heat. Rocks make a big difference with benefiting your soil, putting nutrients into your soil, and honestly, it also helps them thermoregulate because of the amount that they hold in heat. And a lot of reptiles just like being out on rocks to bask. That is just them. That is just what they like. So, as you can see, we have a nice little custom, background going here. You can see it's pretty messy. Look at my hands. So next what I'm gonna do is I'm pretty happy with how secure everything is in here. What I'm gonna do is start adding a little bit more of the decorative items that I have. So we got this beautiful manzanita branch, and this one is gonna be part of the habitat. And how I'm gonna make sure that gets weighed down is I'm going to put this piece of slate right up top here like so. And I'm just gonna work it into the clay and push it down. You can also use your hands. So we have the Sahara in here. We have our rock mosaic background. We have a spot on the hot side to hide right here. We have a spot on the cool side to go here, here, and there. I'm just gonna add a couple more opportunities right here to hide. Because again, I told you guys, these guys they absolutely love flat rocks. So that's what we're gonna provide. Make sure we have all of that there for them like so. Look at that. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give the background and the sides a nice mist, get some of this stuff off. There we go. Get my sides cleaned up a little bit. There we go. You can see some of the excess calcium and clay just coming off the back, which is exactly what I want. Now you gotta be really careful when you're doing this. We don't want to get our bulb soaking wet. I have this awesome saber-tooth cat Bioactive Diner Decor. I'm actually gonna put that right here like this. A little accent right there, so the water dish is gonna be here. Then I actually have some of this product here. Now this is a product that I've been selling on my website for a while. It's the Exoterra Sonoran Ochre Sand. I'm just gonna put some of this sand right on top of the clay, just like this, just to add a little bit of color. Now we're gonna be letting this tank establish itself for probably close to a month before we put the Viper geckos in here. Now we're doing that because we want to make sure that that the background establishes itself correctly. Number two, we want to make sure that there's not a smell that shouldn't be in here, as crazy as that may sound, from said background. Because, you know, it is, has cat litter in it, so we want to make sure that it is going to perform the way that we want it to, which I've been doing this for years. This is part of it. And then we're just going to go through and just make sure everything's where we want it to be, which it is. Then we're gonna take one last spray here on the sides. Look at that. And again, this is gonna spread. It's gonna dry. The rock colors will come back here, little by little. Okay. Then I'm going to take some of this as well, the ochre sand as well, and I'm just actually going to kind of put it here towards the back. Because I'm trying not to get it all over the walls here. There we go. The whole point of this is to try to have this look like a rocky desert outcrop where these guys are from. That's the whole point of me building the habitat like this, having it just be as try to look as a natural of a desert landscape as possible. One more final touch on the sides, getting all the excess ochre stone off of the sides, and put it on the rocks here. Boom. All right, guys, so we got the sides cleaned off the best we can. We have everything nice and running. So now I'm gonna do a couple finishing touches, add in some other things. So first thing I got right here, my small river rocks, which again are gonna look really good for a habitat like this. And I'm just gonna kind of just throw them kind of randomly around here. Some up top, some on the bottom. Like literally I'm just throwing them in here because I want this to look, you know, as natural as possible. Okay, so now we have some rocks scattered about. There are so many places for them to hide. Next step is going to do a water dish. So this is my Terra Bowl Small. You guys all know my trick with the cork. It acts as a small flotation device for your cleanup crew. The hope is that they have this entire front section here to lay their eggs. They're not going to be laying their eggs back in here because it's all covered with the sand from Exoterra. But we did a thinner layer to make sure that the Sahara can still breathe. Next is just a little bit more of the finishing touches. There we go. I really do like it. I think it looks really good, and I think the critters are going to like it. Now, for this to dry, it'll probably take about 2 full days. We're going to leave the doors off, and we're going to let this run 12 hours or 24 hours a day until this background is completely dried. And then once the background is completely dried, we do a structural integrity test to make sure it's nice and safe. But until then, we have to add our cleanup crew. So we're going to be utilizing a bunch of the powder species. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, under the water bowl, I'm just going to take this. And then I'm just going to spread these guys around. And then we have a nice little, without crushing, there we go. We have a really nice little pod right here, a magnolia pod, that has a whole bunch of these in here. What I'm going to do is bury that right down here into the corner. Perfect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this calcium bone, and I'm just going to start breaking off small pieces and just kind of throwing them in different areas here of this habitat, putting it under the soil. You can do this during the build process. You can do it after when you put in your bugs. It really is up to you. I tend to put a big piece directly under the water dish because, again, we're really relying on our cleanup crew to handle a lot of our stuff here as far as keeping our ecosystem healthy long term. Here we go. Next are the springtails. And we're just gonna dump right by the water dish. Boom. That's a lot of springtails. Okay. And then we're gonna give the substrate one last light misting here. And the viper geckos, they are going to eat the isopods for sure. So the reason that we didn't use any dwarf isopods for these guys is because it's gonna be too hot. And quite frankly, they might survive at the very, very bottom layers, but then I would be questioning how effective is your humidity. One of the biggest things that you guys are going to notice is I didn't use any plants in this habitat, just like I said I wasn't going to. We all know that plants play a major role in a bioactive habitat. The roots help aerate the soil, the roots help with the nitrogen cycle, the mycorrhizae that forms a symbiotic relationship to the roots helps implement your soil health long term. So when you are doing this, it's really important to make sure that you are putting additives into your soil every couple months. Things that add in magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, a whole bunch of other stuff, because as your isopods eat your biodegradables, they're also going to be taking the nutrition out of your soil. So it's really, really important, as if you're not using plants, that you find other ways to supplement your soil. We don't recommend utilizing any type of animal-based fertilizer whatsoever for the long-term soil health because it is an enclosed ecosystem. And just for the simple fact that if I really wanted to just have a whole bunch of small branches, these guys love to climb, they love small branches, and they love rocks. So I just wanted to try to truthfully mimic their habitat as much as possible. And I really hope you guys like this more, I hate saying minimalistic approach, but you know, a different style of approach that's a little bit different than a lot of my other videos. So again, guys, my name is Josh. I'm the owner and founder of the Biodude. Hopefully you guys can come and see these viper geckos and enjoy them as much as we are. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate everybody's support. If you guys have any questions about this build or how I did anything, feel free to drop a line in the comments. Feel free to check out our blog, the care sheet on viper geckos, that goes into a little bit more detail as to how to take care of them. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. The dude abides.